So I'm a massive Parks and Recreation fan. So much so that just like at the beginning of this month, maybe at the end of last month, I just finished my 12th or 13th watch through of the entire series. It's a comfort show. It's a show that you watch when you're not feeling good, if you're sick, feeling down. It's a show that you revisit, and it makes you feel comfort in your life, and it's funny, and it has a great cast. So ultimately, when Parks was airing there at the end, I held it to such a high standard because I thought it was so much better written than most other comedies that were out at the time. I mean, didn't have that much competition at the time. In 2015, The Office had ended. Community was moving over to Yahoo Screen. There wasn't a lot of competition. It was probably the best thing out comedy-wise on TV. So, to my surprise, when the finale aired of Parks and Recreation, I didn't love it the first time, and I think it's because I was set in my own ways of what I wanted that finale to be, and I didn't just let it be what it wanted to be. It turns out it was actually a really, really beautiful send-off, and I noticed that the next morning when I revisited it. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't approach this little like a reunion special the same way. The circumstances are different. They probably had about 2 weeks to work everything up here. So it wasn't going to be like top notch Parks, and no one expected it to be. But honestly, for 2 weeks of production and writing and characters acting out their parts, this was actually a really, really welcome surprise. It was funny. It was heartwarming. It was essentially Parks and Recreation to the core. It was everything that we know from Parks and Recreation. And yeah, there's obvious stuff here. There's the obvious like Zoom jokes because they have to talk in their own conversation. Even though I think the thing they're using is Grizzle, which was introduced in like the next to last season of Parks and Recreation. So it still takes place in its own world, but still it's dealing with the virus and how they have to communicate with one another. And just there's very obvious jokes with like the face filters and Jerry. But if I'm comparing the way that this show approached it compared to like Saturday Night Live, which is what they're supposed to be good at, like skits and coming up with stuff on the spot, they did it way better. The writing is just better, even within like 2 or 3 weeks, however long they had to write it. They did a pretty good job. There's a few laugh out loud moments, particularly with Andy. There's one moment with Jerry that made me laugh out a lot whenever he's talking about a certain event that they had to cancel in Pawnee, and I don't want to give like spoilers and stuff. So, but there's an event that he talks about that made me laugh out loud. Just the name of it made me laugh, and that's the actor. His delivery makes me laugh. And you got I wouldn't say cameos because these are characters that were in the show, but you got small parts of smaller characters that show up, and what the show does is it introduces itself with each character going through this like Zoom call with our main core cast. It's at the beginning. I say that's the first act. The second act is all like talk shows and commercials of smaller characters, and then the third act it brings our main core cast back together, and surprisingly it works. Yet again, I didn't hold this up to like a high standard here. I knew what to expect, and it met, I guess, my expectations that I had or surpassed them. It was really solid. It made me feel good. It's not something that I'm probably going to remember 2 weeks from now, but there's a lot of Parks and Recreation episodes that maybe when I initially watched, I didn't think I'd remember it, and I've watched those episodes 12, 13 times now, so why wouldn't I include this? This is canon with the series. It definitely is. As for negatives, I think there's a couple times where you can tell that the actors are maybe like reading off of a script because they'll look away and then look at the camera. And the way that they have to sort of explain why certain characters that are married are separated in the Zoom call is pretty, it's a stretch, but they had to go with what they had to go with. The social distancing and stuff, they couldn't actually get together and act. And they did a fine job at it. One of them has to do with Andy and April, and that joke that they use is actually really, really funny. And obviously the episode ends on a really, really sweet note, with Ron Swanson really nailing it there at the end. It was just a really welcome surprise. In a time of despair like this, Parks is something that I think we all need. And it's a show that I think everyone should watch. It is quick. It is heartfelt. It has an amazing cast. It'll keep your attention for 7 seasons. Like, I'd say the most consistent sitcom of all time. So yeah, if I were to grade this, which it almost doesn't even feel right to grade this, but if I were, I'd give it a B plus. It was really solid. Whenever I go back and rewatch the series, I'll include this after I watch the series finale. It was a really, really fun little episode, and something I think we needed. So, what did you think of this little Parks and Recreation reunion special on NBC? Did you like it? Did you love it? Let me know in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button, and thank you for watching.